Welcome to the Be Mindful podcast. I am your host, women's mindset and manifestation coach, Rachel Rosal Torrio. If you are interested in manifestation, personal development, or spirituality, you have came to the right place. This podcast was created with the intention to help you become mindfully aware of how you think, what you speak, and what you believe, because who you are from within is what you will attract from the out. Let's begin. Hi there, beautiful soul. Welcome back to the Be Mindful podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to give you some advice and some tips that I myself wish I knew in my early 20s. And this is not for people just in their early 20s. It can be for anyone. And I hope that you find this episode helpful. I'm also really excited about this episode because as of 11/11, which is also my birthday, I just turned 29. This is also the 1-year anniversary of the Be Mindful podcast. So this is really, really special to me. I was debating of coming out with this episode on 11/11, and I usually post every 2 weeks. But during this time, I told myself, you know what? This is my birthday month. I got a lot going on. Because the weekend before my birthday, I actually asked my girls to be my bridesmaids. I have one matron of honor. So I hosted like a whole dinner surprise for them. And then this past weekend on 11/11, I had an event with my friends to celebrate my birthday. And my husband treated me out. And we went to LA and stayed the night. And it was just so fun. And it was also very wholesome because I just got to look around and see how really loved I am. And I got to be really present. So no, I didn't post a podcast, and that's totally fine. So here is my next podcast episode coming out for you this Friday. So today when you're listening to it, it should be November. What date should it be? I don't even know where my phone is. Okay, so when you're listening to this, it should be November 17th. And this is a reminder that you don't have to do things so perfectly. And with this podcast, I definitely did not launch it perfectly. I was not consistent perfectly. There were moments in my life where life happened. Like literally, there was shit that happened. There was someone I loved that passed away, and I had to take a break. And during this time, knowing that it was the 1-year anniversary of my podcast, I felt a little guilt because I was like, oh my gosh, I am not staying consistent. I'm not posting. But you know what? That's okay. I took a step back for myself and I felt like I just needed to. And that was okay if I didn't post an episode right on my birthday, right on the 1-year anniversary. And so here we are. And because of that, I felt very inspired to create this episode and give you guys tips and advice because over the last 9 years, I've definitely learned so much, and choosing to not do something for the sake of my mental health and just for me to be present was the most exciting thing for myself. I was having a very proud moment. And even though I had feelings of guilt and feeling like I needed to do something, I reminded myself I didn't have to. I could do whatever I want. And because I love this podcast, I want to make sure that I show up authentically and I'm excited and I'm having fun every single time I create these episodes for you, because that's my whole purpose. I want to show you guys the truth. I want to share with you when I'm struggling, and I want to share with you when I take breaks purposely for my mental health and for myself and just because I can. And that's a reminder for you. So let's go into our first tip. And that really is slowing down and not rushing your success, whatever that means to you. Everyone has a different perspective when it comes to success. And I think what you need to do is really recognize and understand what success means to you. And are you setting a bar so high that you're not even allowing yourself to be proud of any accomplishments that you're making right now? Like, are you doing that to yourself? Because I definitely did. And I always felt like the moment I graduated high school and the moment I even graduated college, that I needed to be successful, that I had no choice, and that success was really going to lead me to happiness. There's no perfect way to get to where you want to be. And personally, success for me is if I'm living a life that I genuinely enjoy around the people that bring me joy and make me feel loved. And I think that's something that I'm cherishing and learning more and more as I get older. The next tip I want to share with you is to let go of the belief that you can do everything all at once. I am multi-passionate. There is so many things I still want to do. And I'm 29. I still got a lot of time to reach so many different goals. And so I want to share with you as an example this podcast. I've had a goal and a dream to start a podcast for many years. I started listening to different podcasts, I think, when I was in college, and it really did change my life. And that is exactly why I told myself, I think one day I want to start my own podcast. And here I am. And I remember when I was working with a coach, I shared with her that I did want to start my own podcast one day. And she had a podcast and she basically broke it down and gave me tips on how I can start it. And it made me realize, like, okay, this is clearly going to be a lot of work and I'm not ready for it, but it's definitely going to happen. If you are multi-passionate like me and there are so many things that you want to do, make a list. Write it down. Write your goals down. I highly recommend that. That way you can break it down and see how are you going to get there. Create those steps. And it's okay if you don't really know. But let's say you do want to start a podcast. Start looking up online how to start a podcast. See what you learn. Take notes and prepare yourself. That way you're not just fully going into it blinded and you know what to expect. When you write your goals down and then you write down how you're going to get there, what it takes for you to achieve this goal, it just simplifies it a little bit more for yourself because you have a game plan. There was a quote I've heard, and I think it was Grant Cardone who shared this, and he was saying that if you are good at one thing, focus on that one thing. And that is something that I wish I was told when I was younger. Because when I was in my 20s, I did try so many different things, but I was trying so many different things at once. Because realistically, we only have 24 hours in a day and there's only so much we can do. So don't burden yourself if you're not doing everything all at once. The next tip, which I highly recommend to everyone, is to start saving on the side. Start saving for your future. I am very grateful that my parents have taught me at a really young age to learn how to save and to get a 401k. So if your job offers a 401k, see if they can match that so that every single time you get paid, it just goes directly into the 401k and then your employer is going to match that. And if it's not a 401k, look into a Roth IRA or look into a high yielding savings account. Do what you can now so that in the future, you're literally just set up. Let's say you have no idea what to save for. That's okay. Just put it on the side and then maybe one day in the future, you can be like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted to use this money for. And it could be for emergency money as well, or maybe one day you do see yourself buying a home. Just start saving, and it doesn't have to be a lot. You literally can put as much as you want into that savings. You can look up strategies of savings, but I highly recommend to just start early. Disclaimer, I'm also not a financial person. I'm just sharing with you my own experience, and I think that you should definitely have all the above. Just save. And I didn't even know what a high yielding savings account was until many years later. And thanks to knowing what a high yielding savings account is, which I will break down really quick. It's basically a savings account where it's constantly growing. It's going to compound no matter what. And every single time you put money into it, there's extra money that's going to be put into it based on the percentage. So if it's high, you're going to get more money back. Because most savings accounts, when you get money back, it's just cents. But imagine having it in a high yielding savings account, you're actually going to get dollars back. And thanks to a high yielding savings account, me and my husband have saved so much and we have compounded so much. So we are literally set to buy a home and we are literally set to afford my wedding of my dreams. So again, If you don't know what you're saving for, but you want a home one day, you want a wedding one day, you want a car one day, just start saving. And then once you know how much everything is going to be, then you could start actively putting a specific amount in your account every single month. And of course, don't touch it unless it's like literally an emergency, okay? Before we get into the next tip, I do want to share with you this cute necklace. This is a custom necklace with opalite and it says 111. One of my really good friends, Christine, made this for me for my birthday, but I realized that in almost every single video, I'm wearing one of her pieces. Like, for example, I have this bracelet. I asked her to make this for me. It's custom. This one was a gift. And I just got to shout her out because I love her jewelry. They're all handmade. And if you want to request anything specific, she's got you. She has really cute stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put her link in my show notes. And if you are watching and you are from Ventura County and you want to get your nails done, I highly recommend you go to Mariah. Her Instagram name is Ego Strokes Nails because these nails, I don't know if it's focusing on the camera, but they're so cute. You're just going to have to check out her Instagram and I promise you, you won't regret it because she's really talented. And lastly, if you would like to book a call with me, check my show notes. I have my website there. You can book any session with me. It can be a coaching call to focus on your career goals. It can be about manifestation. Let's say you're trying to work on a manifestation goal. Maybe you want to balance your energy with EFT tapping, or maybe you need some guidance with hypnosis so you can work on certain beliefs. Whatever it is that you need work on and you feel called to, book a session with me. Another tip I want to share with you that I have actually known since I was a little girl, but I want to share it because I feel like a lot of people just need to hear this, and a lot of people don't know this stuff. You don't know what you don't know, so I'm just going to share it for those who don't know. If you are in your early 20s, especially in your early 20s, or you're close to 29 too, or you are 29, take care of your skin, okay? Take care of your skin because I promise you, you will not regret it. Since I was about 10, 11 years old, I have literally been so good at taking care of my skin. And my skin has changed over the years. I used to be very oily when I was younger. I had a lot of acne in my T-zone. And everyone tells me that my skin has always been perfect, but I've literally worked on taking care of my skin. And when you take care of your skin, there's so much trial and error. There's so many different products out there, but have some patience with yourself and just try as much as you can. But give yourself time to try those things for at least 3 to 4 months because you don't really know if it's working if you're constantly changing your skincare routine. And when I mean take care of your skin, like make sure you wash that face every time before you go to bed, take off that makeup. And of course, what matters too is your hormones, right? What matters is also your genetics. What matters also is what you're consuming, like food wise. So that obviously impacts your skin. But do what you can on the surface and also do what you can from within. Because seriously, your girl is trying so hard to not get any wrinkles, all right? I want to age backwards, not the other way, okay? So if you are not taking care of your skin actively, please do so. Trust me, I literally got my husband on the bandwagon and he takes care of his skin and I love it because I don't have to force him. He has seen a difference in his own skin. So if you want to start taking care of your skin, start now. Because I promise, like, it'll even build up your confidence the more you take care of yourself as a whole. Again, I'm also not a professional with this stuff. I'm just sharing my tips and my own experiences. The next step I want to share with you, which I think a lot of those who are in their early 20s need to hear, or even mid 20s, is that you do not need to go to the gym 6, 7 days a week. You do not. It's not required, okay? And don't feel guilty for not going to the gym. What I will tell you is to put in your mind that body movement is essential for my health, and body movement is good for my mental health as well. In my early 20s to mid 25, that was when I was really in my workout mode, okay? I even did bodybuilding. If you follow me on Instagram, you might even find those photos. I did bodybuilding and I did it twice. And let me tell you, even though I lost so much weight, I still was unhappy. So if you are someone who is new to working out or you like feel guilty for missing a day, I want to remind you there's no reason to feel guilty. I think that you should make it a goal to just create some type of body movement in your life every single day as much as you can, even if it's just walking for like 10 to 15 minutes. And if you're home, stuck at home, walk around your house like a few times, whatever you need to do. It could be yoga, like it literally can be jumping jacks. Like, I don't know. Make it fun for yourself because I think I'm finally at a place where I understand that in general, we humans cannot stay still. Like, it's not good for our body. It's not good for us to stay a potato. We need the body movement. And every single time in general, when we do some type of body movement, even if it's like an intense workout, afterwards we feel so good. So stick to what makes you feel good and keep doing that. Don't do these crazy workout exercises that you literally hate. Like, you're not going to stay consistent with it. So finding a balance for yourself that works for you and you're incorporating that body movement, it's going to make a difference in your overall well-being. The next tip I want to share with you, which I'm sure you've heard many times, but it's really truly learning to enjoy the process of your life. I know we hear that a lot, but I don't think we fully understand it. I mean, I didn't. Like, yeah, enjoy the process, enjoy the process. We hear it all the time, but it's like, how? How do we enjoy that process? When you are working on a project that is associated and related to your dreams and your goals, I want you to be in that moment and just remind yourself, like, wow, I'm doing this for me. So I know that especially in your 20's, it's really tough because you're trying to understand like who you are. You're starting to learn what it is that you want. And you're also trying to build a life for yourself so you can provide for yourself and maybe get a home one day or raise a family one day, whatever it is that you wish for and desire to have. But if we can learn to actively be present in the moment, we will be a lot happier because we're no longer thinking of the future. We're no longer comparing ourselves. We're not thinking of the past, maybe like we made decisions that maybe we regret and wish we did, but that's gone now and the future hasn't happened yet. So let's try to focus on right now, be present, be grateful, and enjoy it as much as we can, because that is something I wish I did when I was younger. I definitely was so focused on success and reaching as high as I can that I burnt myself out. So that's my next tip. You don't gotta hustle every freaking day. Like, I know that there's certain people that they just work like that. If you work like that and it works for you and you're happy, cool. That doesn't work for me. Everyone works different, but you don't have to grind yourself to the ground. You don't have to kill yourself to get to where you want. I used to believe that you had to work very, very, very hard to be successful. I used to think that you needed to be literally so stressed to achieve the things that you want. And I've learned that isn't the case. So if you are struggling right now, feeling like you need to do more and you're not doing enough, this is your reminder. I'm sure you're doing enough. But if you think you're not, track it. Literally. Time block, put it in your calendar when you're actually actively working on things so that you can look back and be like, hey, I did this. I worked on this. I put time and energy into this. And now I can just do whatever I want. You are literally seeing what you're doing. I've talked about this in other episodes of time blocking and how I literally teach this to my clients and how to break it down, because our time is so limited throughout the day. And if we want to get something done, we need to be proactive and we need to be intentional with our own energy. So there's really no perfect balance, but you need to understand how you work. That way you can perform the best at your ability, and making sure that you find time for rest, because rest is essential. That is something I didn't even know was a thing, and I would feel freaking guilty for it. I remember if I had an appointment for like a massage or I went to go get my nails done, whatever it is, I would tell myself, okay, cool, this is my time to like think about all the things I can create, all the things I need to get done. But that never gave me a chance to decompress. Like I literally did not give myself time to rest. And that's why I had such high anxiety. And that's probably why I was really depressed, because I was so focused on working and hustling and doing everything right when really there's no perfect way, instead of giving my brain and my body time to actually just chill. So don't hustle so hard. Hustle, but don't work yourself to the ground. Another tip I want to share is to remember that only your opinion about yourself matters. You comparing yourself is not a win-win. It's a lose-lose situation every single time. And that is something I want you to remember. The opinions of other people about you is their problem. If someone doesn't like you, it's their problem. If you don't like yourself, that's your problem. And that's something that you have to work on. And one way you can really start working on that self-love is asking yourself why you have certain insecurities and how can you work on that. So a lot of the insecurities sometimes even comes from like bullying, for example, or maybe it's not bullying. Someone just points something out and then it created this insecurity within you. Me, I was bullied about my body many times throughout my life. I've been bullied from boys, little boys. I've been bullied by girls. And because of it, it created an insecurity within my body. And for a really long time, I was suffering through body dysmorphia, unfortunately. Now, I have my moments, but most moments, I feel really good about myself. And for the last 9 years, to see where I was at 20 years old and hating who I was and suffering, and to see where I am now, I hope I'm proof to show you that you can come out of that. You can come out of that negativity. You can let go of those insecurities, and it might take time, but it's possible. And I didn't let go of that belief until I realized that it all came from all of the bullying from other people, all of their opinions about me. I let that become facts. I allowed it to become my belief. And because I allowed it, that's why I felt the way that I did. And I believed it. I wholeheartedly believed that it was true, but it really wasn't. So I just want to remind you again that you can love yourself, even if you are looking at yourself right now and questioning, how though? How do I gain that confidence? Let me just tell you, you just have to try. You got to fake it till you make it. You got to say those affirmations, and you really got to just rewire and retrain your brain. And my last tip for you today is just another reminder to have fun. I think that is honestly my goal in life, is to just always have fun in everything that I do, because what's the point of being so serious? What is the point of stressing? Obviously, life happens and there's certain things that we stress on and they're very valid. But if I can choose to have fun most of my life, I think I've done a pretty good job. I wish that there were times when I was in college, I put down the books and I really just went out a little bit more. Not that I didn't have fun in college and not that I didn't go out, but there were a lot of times where I really needed a break and I needed the rest, and it was essential, but I wasn't giving myself that. And during my college years, there was a time where I was really, really depressed, and I was going to therapy, and I was telling my therapist, I'm working so hard, but I'm not doing well. I was really struggling. And I know for a fact, looking back, I was struggling because I literally did not give myself time to really rest, to have fun. And I was really in my head. I cared a lot about what other people thought about me. I was so focused on the future and never really being as present. And it's not that I didn't enjoy those years, but if I can go back, I would definitely slow down a bit and try my best to have a little bit more fun. And that is it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, go ahead and like and subscribe, share with your friends and family. And as always, don't forget to be mindful, because who you are from within is what you will attract from the out. See you in the next episode. Bye.